Hello everyone, my name is Mara Shin-Smith with the Los Angeles County Office of Education. Welcome to our introductory module for getting reading right. So let's start off with the why. Why is getting reading right important? We all know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of our students in our schools who are not reading with proficiency. Part of the problem is that we, as teachers, are delivering reading instruction using a wide range of approaches with differing results. We also know that our students who have less resources are most at risk for falling behind. This is an equity issue that educators must attend to. And we know what we focus on is what gets done. So, let's do this. In October of 2019, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as NAPE, released their testing results, which measured reading assessment growth of 4th and 8th grade students throughout the country. The data was dismal. The average reading scores for reading were lower for both 4th and 8th grade students compared to 2017. Scores were lower by 1 point with 4th graders and lower by 3 points with 8th graders. Let's read this quote from Emily Hanford's article titled, Hard Words. Why aren't kids being taught to read? As a nation, we've come to accept a high percentage of kids not reading well. More than 60% of American 4th graders are not proficient readers, and it's been that way since testing began in the 1990s. Now, how is it that we, as part of the wealthiest and healthiest nation in the world, are complacent with this? We are either numb to this statistic or shrug it off as a fact of outside influences, like poverty or culture. This is so troubling. Why is it that we have not been able to make progress? If we, as educators, are not meeting the needs of all of our students, then we need to make some changes. This is an urgent matter. Let's take that data and contextualize it locally. We pulled the latest 2019 CASP data under the search criteria of schools that have 50% or more 3rd graders scoring at not met and nearly met of standard. We found 110 schools in LA County that had more than 50% below standard. 44 schools had more than 50% in just the not met standard category, taking out the other nearly met criteria. And 19 schools that had more than 60% of students who were not meeting standard. These numbers are scary. We have a lot of students who are not reading to proficiency and are on the road to lifelong literacy issues. These literacy issues will have a direct impact on students' lives and their communities. In Los Angeles County, 2019 SBAC data for 3rd grade reading standard not met and nearly met was even worse for African American and Latinx students. There are 37 schools in LA County where 75% of African American 3rd graders are below proficient, and 42 schools where 75% of Latinx 3rd graders are below proficient. With statistics like these, we have a serious equity issue. We cannot sit by and let this continue. How the brain learns to read is the most studied aspect of human learning. Over the last 40 years, there has been much research gathered from the areas of developmental psychology, cognitive neuropsychology, developmental linguistics, and education. This convergence of all these disciplines is what is called the science of reading. You may have heard that term recently in education. So with decades worth of research, we need to ask ourselves, why are so many of our children still failing to learn to read? Recently, there has been a resurgence about reading instruction in the reading wars. At the heart of the reading wars is this notion of phonics versus whole language or balanced literacy. The reading science is very clear on this issue. Explicit, systematic instruction in phonemic awareness and phonics is absolutely necessary to learn to read. A skilled reader has the ability to read instantly and accurately recognize words. Decades, literally decades of research shows over and over again that this component is critical. This is backed up by brain images that show the different areas of the brain that light up with skilled and struggling readers. Students who guess, look at pictures, or substitute words for words on the page consistently struggle with reading, especially as content and discipline-specific reading increases in difficulty and there are no pictures to guess from and words to substitute. So what do we hope to achieve with the Getting Reading Right model? The primary objective of Getting Reading Right is to build teacher knowledge to impact reading instruction. We feel that if teachers understand how the brain learns to read, then they will be able to make daily instructional decisions with their curriculum and planning. We hope to create a network and community of like-minded practitioners that are dedicated to this endeavor. In Getting Reading Right, we will evaluate school, classroom level reading data, analyze strengths and discern gaps of current reading programs, provide drill downs on the elements of foundational reading skills, identify best practices for evidence-based reading instruction, examine data from a universal screener to inform instruction, and utilize specific strategies to address struggling readers. Let's take a look at the theoretical model called the Simple View of Reading, created by researchers Goff and Tumner. It shows the two necessary parts to achieve reading comprehension. Remember that the ultimate goal of reading is comprehension. The simple view of reading is a multiplicative problem and not additive because both parts of the equation are necessary for reading comprehension to occur. Students need to be able to both lift the words off the page on the word recognition side, as well as have an understanding of the language that is being read on the language comprehension side. If either part of this equation is a zero, then the product will also be zero. Although it is known as a simple view of reading, we know that there really is nothing simple about it. Dr. Hollis Scarborough is the scientist and early literacy expert who created the reading rope. This rope beautifully illustrates the many strands involved in order for skilled reading to occur. The rope clearly begins with two parts. The blue parts of this rope reflect the word recognition or decoding side of reading, and the red strands reflect the language comprehension side. So let's think about the different skills that are first introduced at the beginning of a child's schooling, say we're in kindergarten. Those skills are depicted on the left side of the rope. As we move towards the middle of the rope, the students master more of these individual skills, and their capacity to learn starts to grow. All of these skills come together and become tightly intertwined once readers become increasingly automatic and strategic. Getting Reading Right will take a deep dive and drill down into each of these strands. Our commitment to you throughout Getting Reading Right is to maintain a judgment-free zone. This is so important. Be thought and learning partners, and to provide resources and support. We are grounded in the belief that we all have unfinished learning around literacy. Here are a few testimonials from our current group of Getting Reading Right participants.
Hi, my name is Miriam Steep. I'm an instructional specialist with Alhambra Unified School District. I've taken so many things away from the Get Reading Right series. I would say the biggest one has been phonemic awareness and just really getting into the nitty-gritty of all pieces phonemic awareness and looking at how that might impact students needing intervention services as they grow in their reading abilities. And so that's been really the focus of my instructional support that I've been providing teachers on my campuses, is looking at breaking down kind of what we're doing for phonemic awareness and where we might need to support. And so we're getting much, much more strategic and intentional with our phonemic awareness instruction and really providing that explicit daily instruction to support our students. So I am very excited to see where this takes us. in the future and the positive impact that I know we're going to see for our kiddos.
We have a variety of ways you can participate in getting reading right. If you are unable to attend monthly meetings, Summer Boot Camp may be a way to access content. Our preferred method is the monthly meeting so teachers can learn the skills and apply immediately in the classroom. If you are part of a school or district that would like to do this initiative with and attend together, we would be happy to customize this with your group. The online self-paced course will be available late summer 2021. So I will leave you with this quote from cognitive neuroscientist Dr. Mark Seidenberg, who studies brain development in language and reading. How do children learn to read? The answer is the same for all children. Cultural, economic, and educational circumstances obviously affect children's progress, but what they need to learn does not change. Thank you for taking the time to watch this introductory module for Getting Reading Right. Please reach out to Leslie, Jodine, or myself should you have any questions.